Camera number 420 is the Vivitar v4000s, a camera that was produced around about the mid-1990s by Cosina on behalf of Vivitar, and it could be regarded as an entry-level camera, but certainly has all the necessary things that you need for taking good photographs. I was just interested to see the difference. I have the v4000s that I've reviewed. Let's just bring that in, and you can see not a huge amount has changed. The body effectively is the same, but we have this slightly sculpted front area here. But essentially those two cameras are pretty much the same, just a few little differences. So what I said about the v3000s pretty much applies to the 4000s, which hopefully we'll go into as we go through the camera. So like the 3000, the 4000s requires batteries to operate the light meter only, which is nice. So this camera can be used, I have no batteries in at the moment, and we can use the full range of shutter speeds from 1 second rather, to 2,000th of a second. And so the batteries, as I say, only really operate the light meter. There's two LR44 batteries in the battery cradle, which goes into the bottom there, and then we can just turn that around. The camera is predominantly plastic, but I didn't find it was the kind of creaky plastic that you get with some cameras. It's quite solid, and in fact I found it quite comfortable actually, which for me, I normally like quite heavy cameras, so for me to say that this is a comfortable camera and I quite liked it is high praise indeed. So looking at the front of the camera, this camera came with, I presume this must be the kit lens, the 35-70, again predominantly plastic. It's the Pentax K bayonet, so Vivitar were very clever in plugging into all that richness, and so that might be a consideration if you have Pentax lenses and you want maybe a modern body, then perhaps this might be the way to go. Typically these kit lenses aren't super, but maybe if I illustrate this perhaps with an image now, you can see that actually on macro, and in fact I even put a set of extension tubes, or bellows rather, on the camera to take the image that I've just shown you, and I must say I've been very impressed with the quality, quite sharp indeed. So again, that's something to consider. So could this actually be a gem in the rough? Maybe. So there's the lens. So the lens, we have to just match up the two red dots to put the lens back on. And then on the front, the only other thing is the self-timer, which presumably is the reason why the S. There was a V4000 which didn't have a self-timer, so I presume the S refers to the self-timer, but I'm happy to be corrected. And to operate the self-timer, we just literally pull it back. We do pull it back. We have to cock the shutter first, and then it actuates the self-timer, which counts down to about 10 seconds, I would have said. There we go. And pretty much that's it on the front. On the base we have, as I say, the battery compartment, tripod, and a disengage button for the film advance so that we can rewind our film back into our canister. So on the top plate we have the film advance, which also has an armature that prevents the shutter from being actuated, so that's a nice design there. So you can't actually actuate the button until you pull it out, and then you can actuate it. The arc seems to be about 90 degrees-ish. The film counter, and as I say, our shutter speeds, 2000 down to 1000. If we lift up, we then also have the ability to change our ISO. which is done manually. I did find from time to time whether I didn't allow that to seat properly, it interfered with actuating the shutter. So I'm not sure, that's probably just human error on my part. Hot shoe, and then our film rewind, which we have to lift up to open up our film chamber. There's our film chamber, and no DX coding. So there we go. Looking through the viewfinder, we have a series of LEDs, a red LED, until we get the correct exposure by altering our shutter or aperture, and then it goes green. But we also have a plus and a minus, which also show that perhaps there's a one stop or perhaps two stop overexposure or underexposure. I think it might be a half a stop or one stop, I'm not quite sure. I didn't check that again, I could be corrected on that, but the fact that it includes that is nice. And that's it. That really is as far as the camera goes. So how did we get on? Well, let's have a look at some of the images that came from the Vivitar v4000s. And I have to say, as I indicated earlier, that is this a gem in the rough? It well could be. But this is camera number 420.